Well, we're going to explore grasses today. It's the 2nd of June, Mum and Dad's wedding anniversary. They were married in 1951 and Mum died in 2016, Dad in 2014, so they were married a long time. This is the vicarage garden with its newly mown lawn. That's in advance of the weather forecast, which is rain tomorrow. Nicely cut lawn. It takes me an hour and a half to cut my lawn with a very nice Sovereign petrol mower. This is the path that Mike Murray made up the side of my garden. He and a friend, Charlie, was sponsored for the NHS, and he worked 3 days for the length of time an NH worker was expected to work, 12 hours a day. He went home exhausted, but what a great path, especially when it gets so muddy. And now we're coming across to the Scout hut. It's a lovely afternoon again. We are going to look at one or two wildlifey things, but as I say, mainly grasses. I learned about grasses as a science teacher. I went to Trent Park Teacher Training College as a natural science student. I guess within a year I knew I should have done music, but there we are. I finished. All I can say is that it was a junior secondary course, all I can say is that when I did my teaching practice in a junior school, my impromptu music lessons were rated higher than my science lessons, but there we are. I like to think that my faith is rational and logical as well as creative and experiential. Well, that's quite a good sermon, isn't it? I can think of something, 2 words beginning with E. Experiential, and the word escapes me. New building work here at the old schoolhouse, having a garage built. A lot of wood chippings there. So we're on down to the A24. I know exactly where I want to go to find some lovely grasses. I have 2 little furry friends on ends of leads who are stopping me walking. This is the old school. That's fenced. Here it is. And some of you, of course, will remember the old school as the school's Holmwood School. If I understand it rightly, if I've been told the stories about it, it was 1998. As late as 1998 it closed. As you can hear, the A24 is its mad self. It's gone back to being its usual madness. We like to try and get off the A24 as quickly as possible, and that's exactly what we're going to do. These cars back on the road. Nice and important bus stop. And field maple. English hedges are full of field maple and hawthorn and a whole mixture of different trees and plants and shrubs. So we're going to turn right now into Vigo Farm. Thought you might like to see the farm. It's still got these hawthorn flowers, candles. It's not, sorry, horse chestnut. But my guess is we'll be seeing conkers before long. So we'll go through the farm, because you never know what wildlife we will see as opposed to human. It's Magic Gate. This was an action movie. This is where we come to pick blackberries, and my guess is that very soon we'll be seeing the beginnings even of blackberries. Poor little lad. I'm beginning to see one or two grasses here now. Here's something. This is cocksfoot. Oh, there's better in the field I want to go to, but you can see why it's called cocksfoot. It's because it looks like a cocksfoot. Ah, we have passing traffic. Okay, we'll just stand in on this passing in the nettles. Just trying to move the dogs out of the way. Hi there. Excellent. It's rather narrow to I don't know if you know your grasses, but they have fantastic names, and so often they just look like grass. And you look a bit closer, I'm sure many of you have, and you discover them to be lots of different shapes. But let's bang on to the field I want to get to and not stop anymore. You can hear the building work going on at Old School in the background. Hear a panting dog. Hot day. There will be some grasses that I don't know the names of, but it's always worth looking them up. In Sainsbury's they were selling mugs, and these mugs didn't just have the wild flowers on them. They had all the grasses, which was amazing. Somebody had had the wit to use them as a design. Now, quite often in this field there's a horse, but no. This is Vigo Farm. This is Lucy and Nick McGill. Of course, Annie Coles, who lived here for a long while. You begin to see the beauty of these grasses just standing here actually. You can just see how they stand up tall. I feel very reticent. This is not a lazy comment. I feel very reticent this time of the year to cut these grasses down. Of course you have to, really. If it's your back garden, can't turn it all into meadow. It's a bit hot for horses to be out. A bit hot for anything to be out. Walking through the farm now. Ah. There's a little friend. Oh, a couple of little friends. Little friends. Lucy's horses. Give us a smile. You fed up? There's one. And the other. He's looking at you. I hope it's cool in their stable. I should think it is. She does carriage driving as well. This is her sand school behind. is fun. And that goes right by the field which we're going to walk through. So let's go. I can let the dogs off here, which will be a relief for us all. And through the farm and now up the lane. Let me let them off. Come on chaps, there's 1, 2, but in no particular order of importance, of course. This is a shadier path, so we can just take it slowly. Things to point out. I don't think you need to know about sycamore and holly or brambles and nettles. I suspect we all have brambles and nettles, too many of those in our back garden or even our front garden. Once did a scavenge hunt with some guides. Oh, was it brownies? And we had a Dulux colour card of greens. This is worth doing if you've got grandchildren. I'm just looking to see if I've got any little friends. I suddenly feel very alone. Often, come! If they think there's anything in it for them, they'll come. They're not terribly sure about me talking into a camera and I'm not talking to them. Come! I showed him the biscuit thing. You look, you smiling at me? Yeah, there you go. Good lad. Clever boy. Yeah, straight off, straight on the hand. Right, stay with me. Anyway, over a year I asked these guides and brownies, I think it might have been guides at camp. No, it's brownies, pack collie, doesn't really matter. We asked these young people to scavenge things from around the countryside that matched as closely as possible the colours on the Dulux colour card. It just trains you to look for the subtleties, doesn't it? I'm just going to go past Rob Hewer's old house. It's no longer the National Trust Warden's house. Holmwood doesn't have its own trust warden anymore. But look at that, isn't that lovely? Huge tree stump. Here's the house where the old original warden lived. And I seem to have a stationary dog again. Come! I don't know why he suddenly decides he's going to stand still. I'll brandish the biscuits again. See if I can encourage some activity. Good boy, well done. Yes! Oh, that's brought him along. You can see there's something interesting on the go. Oh, you don't like the heat, do they? These hot dogs. Come! Right, here we go. Are you ready? Present. Present. Hey, well done. Come to heel. Yeah, well, that was pretty good. I'll take that as a pretty good. Right, on, let's go. We're going to go cut up in a minute into the field. I want to look at the grasses there. Yeah, so this is the National Trust Warden's house. Going past it now. We're so fortunate to have these lanes on our doorstep. There's something fragrant I can smell. I hope this helps you breathe fresh air, especially those of you who can't get out. Although more of you I know feel more confident to go out. There'll be some who don't. Look at the shapes of that. Isn't that just graceful? So off we go. No idea if there's anyone behind me. It's not dangerous. I get very twitchy about the road, but these lanes are lovely. Right, here we go. I'm going to swing round into the top of the field next to Vigo Farm. I suspect it belongs to them. I quite like to hear his name. Come on, lad! Another treat for you. And one for you. We're going this way, lads. Come on with me. Stay with me. Right, let's have a see what's here. I don't need to tell you about buttercups. Got loads of those as well, and plantain. But I want to look at these. Look, just across the whole field. The grasses. And once you start to look at them, they are individual. So here's that cocksfoot I was talking about. Because if you kind of hold it at a particular angle, it sort of looks like a cocksfoot. You may think that's a bit far-fetched, but that's the way with these names, isn't it? And then there's a very delicate little grass. Some of these look very familiar, I mean look similar to others rather. This one, I'm not sure. I call this meadowsweet. Actually, I think meadowsweet is much less frondy. I think I'll see if I can find one. A meadowsweet. If I see one, is that just a smaller version? Maybe. That's the meadowsweet. And then of course there's the, I hope I get these right, if I don't you can always correct me, the wild rye, which you'll know, grass. And then there's, oh there is, I'm sure it's that one, I'm sure that's meadowsweet, yeah there it is, sure that's it. Can't hardly see it. Isn't that pretty? This is going to be an exhaustive lecture. There's a million grass names. There's wonderful names like tufted timothy and sweet timothy. Not quite sure why Timothy was chosen as a name. There will be a reason, of course. Sort of this kind of grass. That's all with seeds on it. It's a timothy. Like I say, if you look these up and find I'm wrong, very happy to be corrected. All the way along here, and there's something called Yorkshire fog, which is similar to this, sort of full. It's got a reddish hue. A lovely name, isn't that? Yorkshire fog. Brilliant. Here we have just a patch with different shapes and designs. Oh, that was a bit quick, wasn't it? Let me do that again. There we go. Once you start to see it, you can't unsee it. Isn't it lovely when the wind blows through the grasses? This is the where we are. That's the sand school I pointed out there at the end. That's my Go Farm. This is where we walk very frequently. Butterfly. I'll have to keep up with it. It's gone. Lots of butterflies. I love it when the boys race into the long grass and then you can't see them. I barely see them now. And here's some. Just so therapeutic just to stand and watch them. When do we have time to do this? Usually. Just so therapeutic. Working our way home now. That's encouraged you to get out your grasses and ferns book and look at the names and look again at the fields that we have to walk through. And to appreciate the fine detail. I know it's not favourite time of year for hay fever sufferers, but there's so much beauty here just in these fields that sometimes we take for granted. I'm a city, born and brought up in the city in London. I'm a Londoner, lived in Durham, Southampton, Manchester, Birmingham, four towns, Chertsey, Chessington, and then Mickleham and here, Holmwood. And I have to say that if I couldn't see a field or a stile or a footpath very close to home now, I would miss it. It's got under my skin, they say that green is God's favourite colour. And it's certainly very restful, and of course that's why they put parks in London. But it's the restfulness. There we go, on our way home. I'm looking behind to see if I've got a little friend. I'll continue, see if you'll follow. You have a sort of pecking order really, which is Mr. Holmes first, and then me, and then Barley. I suspect that's the way it is. I'm going to stand here for a minute. Partly till he catches up, partly because this too has a glorious vista of different shapes. I hope you've enjoyed our walk. We'll just get out of this field and into the next, and you'll see where we are. And we'll bring our walk to a close. Oh, let's stop and look at those. I know they're bramble. They're so pretty, aren't they? Bursting into bud, into flower. So here we are. There are the allotments, and up there in the distance. Oh, he's seen something. Better go and find him then. Thank you for going with us today. Postscript. I'll show you this. This was made by the preschool, love it. It's called the Forest School. It's down the bottom of that field. And here they've made, this is where Holmes ran, they've made a place for the kids to sit. It's lovely, isn't it? And there's a sort of kitchen-y thing area over there. They've been very creative about this area. Anyway, I thought you might like to see that. Forest School and the preschool trek down here. But we are going to go home for a cup of tea. Home for a cup of tea. Come on, lad. Nothing like a boiling kettle, is there? Or the promise of a pot of tea. There's the church. Oh, I'm glad you've done this postscript. And now we'll make our way home. I feel like a bit like one of those tours. I don't think I'll take it up as a profession. Too many worries about where your passengers are, particularly if they're little furry friends. The church comes into view. And you'll see exactly where we are. That's where you park on a Sunday morning. And we'll once again, I did have this crazy idea that we could have a drive-through church. Everyone could sit in the car park. There we go, home. Everyone could sit in the car park and I could broadcast the service from the wall over there or behind my gate. Who knows, may still do it. Once again, thank you for joining us on our walk today.